at very high levels. For example, you can bend and take water from the well.
All of the water that falls on the terrace, on the rooftop, is collected down. Now over here, you might see a bifurcation. Here is the source well, where that excess water.
The rainwater can be harvested only in two ways. One, you can collect it in a sump like this, and for immediate use. Whole thing or 5 feet, 3 feet. So there's a calculation for it. Okay. Where do you use a 3 feet, where do you use a 4 feet, and so on.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Experience Exchange. As we all know, Tuvakkam is celebrating the United Nations International Volunteering Year 2026 with a year-long volunteering event. As a part of this, we are doing Experience Exchange, where we meet with people who are masters of their domain, who would love to impart their knowledge to educate us and impel us to do more volunteering and social work. Today we are here at Rain Center in Chennai, and we are meeting with Dr. Sekhar Raghavan, Director of Rain Trust. Welcome, sir. Alright. So, a lot of us have heard the buzzword rainwater harvesting, right? Years together, people have seen it, people have done it, but there are still a lot of questions in the up-and-coming modern urban architecture in what rainwater harvesting is. So today we're going to take a look at what is rainwater harvesting and how the common man is going to be benefited by it. So, sir, how did your career with the Rain Trust begin?
See, I was born and brought up in Chennai. I'm 78 years old, man. And I've been living in Western Nagar, which is a suburb of Chennai, which is a coastal place. Right. So we have the beaches of Chennai there. The two important things about Western Nagar is that the sea breeze will sets in at around 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, which brings in sea breeze and brings down the temperature. Even during summer, after 2 or 3, it becomes quite pleasant. Right. Unlike most of the other towns and cities, both in India and in Tamil Nadu. For example, if you take Tirupati, Velur, they will be hot even during night. And like Bhopal, Indore, Gwalior, and so on, it will be extremely hot. They say even air conditioners will not work. It becomes so hot. Whereas that is not true at all in Chennai. It becomes quite pleasant, though it is humid. We start sweating and all that. But its temperature comes down. So that is one good thing about Western Nagar. The second thing is the groundwater that was available in Western Nagar. Sweet groundwater at very high levels. For example, you can bend and take water from the well. The reason is very simple. It's all sandy beaches, and any amount of rain will percolate naturally without any human intervention. And then go there and remain there as groundwater. So that's what we are picking it up through our open wells and bore wells. So that is very, very important. So people started migrating towards Besanagar because the water was good, there was plenty of water. Particularly the builders started coming into Besanagar.
Yeah, human civilization, I guess itself is they will settle around water areas because of agriculture. People want to live a better life, right? So I guess we are seeing.
You are exactly right. For example, all the civilizations flourished on river banks.
Right.
We know that Indus Valley civilization, for example. So, which is very, very important. So, water is very important for our day-to-day life.
True.
That was easily available in Western Nagar. So, that actually spoiled the Western Nagar's groundwater. Because people started drawing more water from the ground, whereas they didn't give it back to the soil. They started paving the driveway, they started paving everywhere. For example, if you go to a flat complex, you will not see any unpaved area within the flat. So what happens is all the rain goes to the street through the gate and starts flooding the area. So as a result, the water table, which I told you, we used to bend and take water,
Very close.
started going down and down and down. So it went up to 15 feet, 16 feet. See, one danger about living close to the sea is that the saline water will slowly enter into our groundwater source. And then once it gets spoiled, it's very difficult to reverse it.
Right.
So I was scared because I had just bought an apartment there and I wanted to live there for the rest of my life. So it all started with a selfish motive. Nothing very, because I did some physics for my education and training.
The physics professor.
Physics professor, yeah. But I didn't know anything about water, anything about groundwater. See, that is a different science. That's called the hydrology, hydrogeology, and so on. I didn't know anything about it, but I learned through experience as to what is happening and so on. Then started going from house to house in 1995, almost 31 years back. And then told people that what they are doing is not correct. You should leave some open space within your house so that rainwater will go and naturally percolate into the soil. So slowly people started listening to me. Earlier they were not. Then slowly they started listening to me and then said, okay, we'll do it. So that is how the whole thing started developing.
Yes, sir. At a time when there was no social media and there was no instant messaging, it is very heartening to see a man driven by such passion. You said it might be selfish, but it has benefited a lot of people by spreading the knowledge for rainwater harvesting. So, sir, could we go through why?
We'll do one thing.
Yes, sir.
We start from there.
Perfect, sir. Yeah.
So that, because that's more technical. So we'll come to that later. See, for example, this is an independent house. See, you should understand the rain falls only on two places. One is called the roof,
Right.
right? And the other is the setback area, which is all around the built-up area. So it rains only on these two places. The rainwater that falls on the terrace or the roof is brought down through pipes. And these pipes can be interconnected and pass through a filter collected in a sump. Similarly, rainwater can be harvested only in two ways. One, you can collect it in a sump like this and for immediate use. See, the harvested rainwater is entirely yours. So you can pump it up to the overhead tank, start using it. And any overflow, you put it into a source well or a duct well or a local well, so that it goes to improve the groundwater source. So both the things are happening here. One is collection for immediate use. That is one aspect of rainwater harvesting. The other one is groundwater recharge. So that is also happening. So this is the basic principle of harvesting. You can see that in the apartment complex also. See, for example, this is a multi-storied apartment complex where it's similar process. It rains only on these two places, terrace and then the setback area. Yeah. The terrace rainwater is brought down through pipes. So similar to that, you put it into a recharge well or a duct well. See, rainwater, this is called rooftop harvesting. And this is called driveway runoff harvesting. So the rooftop harvesting is the simplest and the easiest. You can easily connect the pipes and take it to a recharge well. And you can also collect it for immediate use. The driveway runoff invariably goes to the street.
Right.
Through the gates. So that can be intercepted by means of a gutter, which you will see in the ground floor of our rain center.
Right.
So this intercepts the runoff. So the runoff water will fall into the gutter and through a pipe is taken to a recharge well. That's all. So you have harvested 100%.
Right. Both the terrace and the setback.
Both the terrace and the setback area. So similarly for a gated community.
Right.
But there are several such complexes. What the builders do is put a drain all around the complex. So all the runoff, rooftop water, everything runs through the drain and goes to the straight through the gate. So that can be intercepted by simple walls inside the drain.
Right.
Like this. And then take it to a recharge well. So recharge well is a very good structure. I will talk about it later.
Sure, sir.
So this goes to improve both the quantity and the quality of groundwater. So harvesting is only this. See, this is not rocket science. It is purely based on common sense. But I'm very sad to tell you that a large majority of people have not understood it. In fact, I took classes for Thorcom in same place. There were about 8 or 9 volunteers. The only condition I told them was, you should come to all the classes. You cannot absent yourself. So I did it for about 6 weeks on Saturdays and Sundays. So all the 8 people came and learned about harvesting from throw. That is how my association with Thorkam, I think, started. So it's slowly developing.
Right, sir. We'll talk more about it during the podcast section of ours.
Yeah.
So since this is a simple concept, but
Yeah.
there are a few building blocks of this rainwater harvesting system. Right?
Yeah.
So could you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. See, collection in a sum, there's only one way. There are no two opinions about it. Whereas recharge can be done in different ways. For example, this is one way where the plumber makes a hole inside the soil and puts a slanted PVC pipe to about 20 feet.
Okay.
The slots are here. You can see the slots.
Right.
And then the assumption is rainwater will go through this and start spreading. But this is a wrong method. I'll tell you why. For example, this pipe will get clogged.
With a lot of debris.
Not the big, there's a lot of silt
Right.
that is carried by them,
Right.
which you will not be able to see. So, so this is actually the filter. So the filter cannot really solve the problem. So some amount of silt will start getting into it and then starts clogging. So once that happens, then no more water will go down. And you also cannot clean it. Because this is just a 4-inch or a 5-inch pipe. So you cannot put your hand and clean it. So that's why this is not a good structure. Whereas this is a good structure. So this is what we adopt in most of our projects, in all of our projects. This is called a recharge well. So this is made out of cement rings. So each one is a ring. These rings are readily available in the market. So what you do is you make a cylinder, empty cylinder, inside the soil. Start inserting the rings, one on top of the other. You don't plaster the gap. So that water should go on all sides. So no plastering is done. The depth is 15 feet. And the diameter can be 3 feet, 4 feet or 5 feet, depending on the requirement. So all these rings are readily available. So what you have to do is create, and then put a thick lid on top. And you should leave it empty. Right. So people make the mistake of filling it up with gravel.
Thinking it will filter.
It will filter. But for groundwater recharge, there is no need for any filtration. The soil will take care. So this should be native soil. And this should be left empty. And put a thick, 3 inches thick RCC cover so that nobody will fall. And vehicles can go on top of this.
Right.
Nothing will happen.
There's no hindrance to the regular use.
A regular movement of vehicles.
Right.
So people need not hesitate. They can even put it in that driveway. That's a recharge. So this is what is the advantage of this is that after one or 2 years, a person will get in and clean. Even
There is silt layer.
there is silt layer. I'm not saying silt will not come here.
Yeah.
But that's not true. Silt will also get deposited here. So a person will go down, remove the silt, and then climb up.
It provides the feature which actually made that pipe idea viable.
Exactly. But all the plumbers will know only this.
Right.
Because this requires some special training.
Yeah, this.
Only professional trainers can do it.
Yeah, people think this takes more space, but all the space is below the ground.
All the space is below the ground. So be careful. See, the point is, you should put a recharge well only in places where there are no water lines, there are no EB cables, there are no sewer lines. So you should choose such a spot and then make the well. And then connect all your rooftop pipes and insert it here. So that the rooftop water gets in. The driveway water will go through this hole.
Yeah. The slope that the builder will do will naturally.
Yeah, will naturally take it. Or be located in such a place that the driveway runoff also gets into it. So this is a wonderful structure which we have been propagating for almost 15 years.
And the other innovation which I raised.
Yeah, that's the gate gutter.
Which we will see.
Yeah, you see it near the gate.
Yeah.
This to intercept the runoff and put it into a recharge.
So if you could take a look at
a physical model.
Because as with all science, people need to see the belief, right? So I was just wondering if we could turn this on.
Turn this on. Okay. All right.
We're able to see a real-time simulation of how the rainwater that falls on the terrace will get collected by the pipes, and then it goes into two different structures. So one being the sump and the other being the recharge. We saw the physical aspects of it, how it ties into the current time. But rainwater harvesting is not a new technology. Like Sir mentioned, it is something common that people used to do all the time. So let us take a look at how it has developed over time and what is the significance of it for the human evolution.
Yeah. So let me explain this drawing. This talks about our groundwater source. So we have two layers of groundwater separated by hard rock. One above hard rock and one within hard rock. So our ancestors were only tapping the top layer, which we call the shallow aquifer, through open wells. And you know, every year during rain, the rain will percolate and come up to this level and then fill up this portion. It will not get it to this portion.
Right. The moisture gets absorbed within.
Yeah. But this is rock, water cannot percolate through rock. So this is actually a sustainable source, whereas this is not a sustainable source. So what happened was the recent past, people have started closing open wells and then started putting bore wells, which goes up to the rocky strata. And then you draw water from there. So there is water here which cannot be sustained. See, there are what are called fissures where water gets collected during rain, and then only a limited quantity gets collected. So once you exhaust that, then you have to go deeper, deeper, and deeper. So that's why first they start with 200 feet, then they go to 400 feet, then 800. Now it's almost 1000 feet they have reached.
There's no refilling the.
There's no refilling of the aquifer.
Right.
So that's why they got first water strike, second water strike, and see, between two water strikes, there's no water.
It's stored.
Whereas here, it is water everywhere. You find water in clay layer, you find water in silty layer, sand layer, etc., etc. So this is a continuous aquifer. As I was saying earlier, our ancestors were only using open wells.
Right.
Because borewell technology was not known. This is our recent past. So they were only using open wells which get filled up during monsoon and then will dry up during summer days. So people thought once the well gets dry, it will never come back alive.
Okay.
So that's a myth. It's a false idea that people have got into it. So what happened was people started closing. So they said having an empty open well at home is not a good sign. So they started closing it and started putting borewells. For example, invariably you see in every house there'll be a borewell, but not an open well. So now we are
with the builder plan itself. Like this is the structure we're planning, and this is the depth of
exactly.
Right.
So even builders have started closing open wells.
Right.
So that he wants to construct one flat on top of this.
Yeah.
So he goes in for borewell. See, in water, the top water will be of a better quality than bottom water. Because of salts and density, the salty water goes down.
That is the
Fresh water, brackish. So, that's why we call this a floating aquifer.
Mhm.
So, good water alone will flow. If you go to the beach, for example, we have the MGR, Samadhi and all that, you can see the shop fellow who's selling bhaji and boda will have a borewell very close to the beach water.
Mhm.
So he'll get good water because he's tapping the floating aquifer.
Right.
So that is one important difference in water.
Yeah.
So the deeper you go, the plumber may say it will come for 4 years, it will come for 5 years. But the point is, it will only give you salty water. The more
quality of water.
you compromise on the quality of water, then all your pipes get rusted and so on and so forth. So not a problem. Now we are trying to popularize open wells.
Mhm.
So that is because this is the sustainable source that people should understand. See, we are not against bore wells, but we need water somehow.
Right.
Whether it is well or bore well, we need water. So we are not against it, but then we are only against closing these open wells.
Mhm.
So why should we do that? Why not keep it alive? So that's what this drawing clearly exhibits. And this drawing, this is just for interest.
Mhm.
Now, see, in villages, this is the traditional water bodies called areas.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you know that.
Eri, Kamai, different
In
colors.
other side it's called Tamai and so on. In our side it's called area. So this is a satellite picture of the area system.
Mhm.
So you can see all these are areas.
Small catchments of water present all over the area.
So it's collected in these water bodies, and then only the excess will go to see this Bay of Bengal.
Right.
Only excess will go to the Bay of Bengal. See, these are all areas with no water, whereas these are areas with water.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a satellite image of the area system of traditional water harvesting. How do you maintain? How do you maintain that? How much money is allotted to that? You find it in the temple say inscription
Right.
in Somangalam village. So the priest is explaining what is written there, how much money was allotted for these areas will have to be cleaned every year.
Same silting.
Desilting, we call it desilting. So that will have to be done, and that is good manure actually, and that is taken to the field and put there, so that you have sort new problems.
What is silting a sustainable approach? Right?
Very sustainable, very useful, simple approach. But we have to take
Interesting relationship between harvesting water, it's giving us good silt which can be used for agriculture.
and they call it Tamil Vandan,
Okay.
which is cooked. Indeed. So if you don't desilted
Mm-hmm.
for several years, then the volume of the area will get reduced.
Right.
Because the silk will occupy
Its own layer.
its own layer most of the time.
Right.
So that's why the volume of the area comes down. So even after a small rain, it starts overflowing, which is not true.
This is why it's interesting to see that as we get closer to the sea, you have this layered structure, right? Where the water fills up and then it propagates to the next layer and the next layer. So that there we can avoid flooding, you can also catch the water rather than running it off.
And see, there were canals connecting areas. If one area gets filled up, the overflow will go and fill up the neighboring villages area. So it used to be called chain of tanks.
Hmm.
This is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
With no technical education available in those days, people had imagined all this and constructed, conceived. It's a wonderful thing that our ancestors have done.
Sure, sir. So we'll take a look at how it is actually done in
Yeah.
as a party structure,
Yeah.
and then we'll come back up and continue our conversation on it.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Start.
So this is the logic behind everything that we've seen so far. You have the terrace, you have the rainwater pipes which are going to collect, you have the well, you have the sump. So the sump is the first thing that fills up, followed by the well. And then the gate gutter, now since it's coming with the sill, it is going to only go to the recharge well. So all of this, there is science behind it as well. So this 1.4 meter is dependent on the rainfall level. Like we see every day morning, there were 6 inches of rain, there were 4 inches of rain. So this is an equivalent calculation of that. Now, given this area on the rooftop, about 80% of that is captured by the rooftop rainwater harvesting. So that for this particular apartment gives nearly 1,97,000 liters per year. Now, similarly, on the paved area, it is going to collect about 70% of it, which gives it about 1,66,000 liters per year. And then unpaved area, it is good as it is because it's going to anyway go down into the groundwater. So we would say about 20% of it might get run off. So that itself amounts to about 20,000 liters per year. Now, this is based on the standard statistic provided by the government of 1.4 meters of rain per year. So this factor must be enough for you to get convinced on how much water you can save through rainwater harvesting. So we saw the theoretical aspects of it. At this rain center, they have actually done it practically to show us how this actually works. So as we see here, this is the rooftop pipe. It is going to collect all of the water that falls on the terrace on the rooftop and collect it down. Now over here, you might see a bifurcation. The reason being, this is called first flush. Now, as we know, the main hindrance that also sir mentioned is the silt. The silt, when it gets clogged up in the pipe, it is going to prevent rainwater harvesting. So what this first flush does is, you can close this structure over here. And when the water first comes down from the terrace, it's going to come with it all the dirt, all the dead leaves. That is going to slowly fill up in this pipe. And once this fills up, the water is then going to go to the second pipe. Now, this basically acts like a capture device to capture all of the silt. Later on, after the rain has stopped or during the rain, you can open the pipe and let all this dirt and silt out. So once the water level fills up on the first flush model, it is going to come through here and go through this filtration bridge. Now this filtration bridge has multiple levels. It's going to filter out all of the silt, any excess silt or any floating particles that is in the water, and is going to go directly down into a sump structure. So this pipe is going to go directly to the pump. If the sump fills up, that water is going to go all the way to the source well. So the sump, as the sir mentioned, is for our own use and purposes. Now, once that is done, it is our moral responsibility to recharge the groundwater level for the society. So this here is the source well, where that excess water can be sent back into the ground for use in the future. So we have seen how the rooftop water can be harvested. Along with that, there is another interesting approach that Sir had shown for this setback area. Now, it would be great if you could leave empty ground that is open to the sky to capture all of the water. But in most of our apartments these days, that is not possible. We usually pave it up for parking structures. What can we do? So this interesting approach is a gate gutter. Now, in the olden times, there used to be moats around castles, moats around palaces. This follows a similar idea where any water that runs off from the paved area would come and flow through these holes into its own sort of wire duct. So that duct is going to reroute this water into any structure we want, typically an open well or a recharge pit. Now what this does is it will prevent the water from flowing back out into the streets, which causes the excess flooding that we see during the rainy time in most of the cities. So this gutter is going to redirect the water all the way to this well. So this is a percolation well. Again, this is to recharge the groundwater level. If you can see here, you have multiple rings, and as Sir had mentioned, these rings are not plastered. So what happens is the water from the duct comes through the pipe and is going to slowly fill up this well structure. As time goes on, it is going to seep back into the ground and recharge the water for all of us to use. This is how old technology of rainwater harvesting can be adapted for the modern times. Now let us go pick up the conversation. So, welcome back, everyone. We are still with Dr. Sekhar Raghavan, sir, the director of Rain Center, also known as Rain Man of Chennai. So, we've seen the theoretical aspects of it, we've seen the practical aspects of it. Now, let's get into the intricacies of what is rainwater harvesting and why we should do it. So, sir, when I started to research this topic and when I was reading into it, I was very surprised to find that in 2001, the Tamil Nadu government mandated rainwater harvesting, and you were a pivotal figure in that time come about. So, you said you had faced a lot of struggles. People barred you from even entering the apartment complexes to talk about rainwater harvesting. From there, it has become a mandate for new apartments, new houses to come with rainwater harvesting. We plan into this. So, could you share a little bit about how this revolution took place and why it is so such an important fact in our community?
As I as I told you, I was born and brought up in Chennai. And Chennai is a coastal city with sandy beaches. So any amount of rain will get harvested automatically. It will go into the ground and remain there as groundwater. You should tap through your open wells. See, in Besanagar, only open wells were preferred. Because if you dig deeper, you may hit salt water. Right. So you have to be very careful. The depth of the open well or the bore well. Even if it's a bore well, it has to be only 30-35 feet. So we'll have to run an open well. Otherwise, the salt intrusion will take place. So people were very clear. But what happened was over the years, a lot of apartments were started being constructed. Rapid urbanization. And there's nothing wrong. Because I'm living in one of the apartments, so I cannot accuse the builder. The mistake that he did was to pave the entire setback area, so-called driveway, because he wants smooth movement of vehicles. He didn't think about percolation, he didn't think about playing water, getting into the soil and all that. Yeah. He thought, in fact, one builder told me that there's a perennial source below the soil and you can tap any amount of water, nothing
But
happens.
the source of the perennial source, I'm sure he did not think about.
He did not think as to how it has come about. See, I used to describe groundwater as a bank.
Ah.
See, only if you put money into the bank, you can withdraw money. You can't keep withdrawing all the time without depositing any money.
No.
Then the manager will say, no.
Yeah,
no
no
funds.
without credit.
So that's precisely what's happening. So I'll give you a simple example. In 2018,
Once recent.
very recently, it didn't rain properly. Our average rainfall is 140 centimeters annual average. It's only average. But that year it was around 800 or 900. So we knew the summer was going to be tough. Similarly, 2019 was a tough year for us. In fact, they even compared Chennai, Cape Town, where it was day zero and all that.
African.
Yeah, African Cape Town. Yeah, there was day zero there. So they said Chennai will also become a day zero city, and so on. So people were scared. I was getting something like 50 to 20 calls per day asking me for helping them. But what can I do? They should have prepared themselves even as the law was mandated in 2002. But then, you know what people said? It's a draconian law. The chief minister is trusting on us, which we don't think. See, she was a great visionary. She knew that Chennai requires rainwater harvesting. With all your urbanization. See, we have started paving everything. Roads are paved, houses are paved. So there's a lot of runoff, more than percolation. So that is precisely why this drought has come about. So I always say droughts and floods are man-made. They are all natural. Whereas rivers get flooded and so on, that's a natural flooding. And that they say is a healthy flooding. But now, it is due to urbanization, cities are getting flooded. The corporation is constructing stormwater drain to remove all the flood water and so on and so forth. But that is also not a good idea. Because what they are doing is dumping all the water into the sea, spending thousands of crores, and then they bring it back from the sea as fresh water
Through desalination.
through desalination. Another 2,000 crores, another 3,000 crores. So I used to think whether is the government for the people or not for the people. Because they want only mega projects. And they only they get money and so on.
Whereas this simple, like,
Ah.
old decade,
Ah.
millennium old technology is there for rainwater harvesting, is there not considering?
Exactly. See, for example, I tell you, Chennai gets supply from 3 water bodies, or even 4. Red Hills, Cholavaram, Poondi, and Chemparambara. All of these are traditional areas. So thanks to our ancestors, they gave us these areas, and Chennai is now meeting all the demands of these areas. So they have not done anything to improve it. See, the existing areas, for example, if you go through that Thorapatam Proven Road, you will see areas on both sides. Essentially, the road cuts the areas.
Right.
But those areas are being filled up with garbage. Those areas are filled up with wastewater, and lot of people illegally acquire land within the area, procurement, they construct houses there. See, the government is just keeping quiet, not doing anything. If only they revive all that, so we will not have any water problem. There is no need for Telugu Ganga or Ganga for us.
It sounds like it's similar to the health checkup that we get now. Only after the health checkup readout says, oh no, you have cholesterol or sugar, you think of, okay, I need to become better. Similar to that, only when you get drought or only when there's flooding, you think, oh no, I need to do rainwater harvesting.
Ah,
So this brings a question. So rainwater harvesting, let's say because of urbanization, right? Construction has happened. Now, is it possible to do rainwater harvesting in an already constructed apartment complex or independent house? Like, how can a person come, like, approach that idea of doing rainwater harvesting to an existing structure?
of course. See, most of Chennai has been built up.
There.
So you will have to we call it retrofitting.
Hmm.
Fitting harvesting in an old house. So that is where we get all our pulse. So what we do is, see, in harvesting, the easiest and first thing that you should think is roof water harvesting. As I told you, rain falls only on 2 places. One is roof, which is on terrace. The other is all around the built-up area. So easiest and simplest, because in harvesting, you have to channelize water. That is very, very, very important. Only channelized water can be harvested easily. For example, if you ask me to harvest water in a football ground, I may not be able to do it.
It's an open area with
Open area, you will not know where water is running, which side it is running, how can I intercept, nothing is known. Whereas in roof harvesting, the pipes bring down the water. It's beautifully channelized. So all you have to do is to interconnect the pipes and take it to a recharge well. Suppose you want to collect rainwater, then put it into a summer. So there, as I told you, there are 2 options. One is you can collect rainwater,
Right.
and then use it immediately. You must have seen it in our restaurant.
Right.
Summer. We have a 50,000 liter sump where we collect all the rainwater. So all roof water gets collected in that sump. Any overflow from the sump goes to the well. It goes to the open well. So this is the easiest and simplest thing to do. Second, you talk about the rain that falls all around the building, which we call the driveway. Most of the places is a driveway. So it invariably goes to the street through the gate. So that can be easily intercepted because these driveways are not paved. They are not open grounds. So there's a smooth runoff. You can easily intercept it near the gate through a gutter and then take it to a recharge. so that you are enriching your groundwater source. So the groundwater source will get enriched. Only the, as I told you, groundwater is in two different layers. That people will have to necessarily understand. So people will tell me, sir, the next door man has put a borewell, my well has gone dry. This is not true.
Correlation.
This is a wrong correlation. The borewell is tapping from one place, your open well is tapping from a different place. So the open well taps the shallow layer, which is above hard rock. So the first thing we do in an apartment calls us to advise them on harvesting and water management and so on. First, what we do is ask them for a well. So they should visit the local neighborhood and find out a well. Okay. They are not able to do it, we will do it for them. And then we see where your water level is.
The depth of the water.
When you see from top, you see water, right? At what depth from ground level you see water? It could be at 10 feet, it could be at 15 feet. Whereas the borewell, which is 400 feet deep, will be dry. So I tell them, this is plenty of water here. So then they are convinced. As you say, seeing is believing. So I just pull them, show them the open well, show them the water level, and tell them, why don't you also go for a water well? I'm not saying that will solve all of your problems, but at least it will be a supplementary source.
Right.
See, for example, during monsoon, you can use the well. During dry months, you can use the well. So you can keep changing this. And then live happily without expecting any municipal water at all. But people are fond of municipal water.
They are the
They are happy now saying, sir, we get corporation water. Without realizing that he is taking it from the sea and supplying it. And it's not environment friendly at all.
So, like throughout the talk, we use the term, but I think it's time that we formally define it. So, borewell and well. So, we know that well is the aquifer structure that, the aquifer that uses the water which has seeped into the soil. Like you said, we're not going to plaster the rain. So, what essentially happens is similar to how you will, if you squeeze a tea bag, water comes out of it. From the ground, the water is going to come through the small pores on the rains to the well. But what is a borewell, sir? Why do we see it so much around this?
See, borewell is essentially tapping water from the rocky strata. See, there will be rock everywhere. We call it bedrock. In some places it will be at 40 feet, in some other places 80 feet, some other places 90 feet. So, the borewell well will go up to rock. In rock, there is something called fissures.
Cracks.
Cracks. They call it cracks or fissures. See, the mouth of the fissure or the crack will be 3 kilometers away.
Okay.
So rain falling there will go through this crack and come to your house.
Okay.
If someone builds up a house in the top of the crack, then you will not get water.
It stops the.
He has sealed your opening. So it is not a sustainable source at all. So it will give you water for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and so on. But then it will go dry. Then the borewell digger will come and tell you, you should go deeper.
Correct.
And secondly, the most important thing in borewell is they should, there's something called casing pipe. Inside borewell, they put a white PVC pipe, which is called the casing pipe. That should be a slotted casing pipe. I'll tell you why. See, only through the slots, the shallow and the deep aquifers get connected.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise, it's something like pouring water with your mouth closed.
Okay.
So if it's a plain casing, then your harvested water will not get into your borewell. So the first question that we ask when we go to apartments is that when it rains, does your borewell water get into?
Well, you can see it just from the taste and the.
From yield. From yield and the taste, sir. They will say, yes, sir. Up to rain. So that shows he has put a slotted pipe. If they say, no, sir, it doesn't improve even after put rain, then he has put it up plain.
Regular things.
So we advise residents to instruct the borewell digger to go in for slotted casing pipe. The borewell will cheat you and run away. But you should insist that we want slotted casing pipe. And they put a nylon mesh around this slotted opening or slotting so that mud will not get into it. So you should use a slotted casing pipe for to get the benefit of harvesting in your borewell.
This depth, I guess it depends from area to area.
Area to area. Yeah. And then it can be done scientifically also. For a hydrogeologist, he uses a machine which tells you where is your first water strike, where is your second water strike, and so on. So they send electrical signals, and from its reflection, they are able to tell you at what feet you get first water, at what feet, and he will also be able to tell you how much water you will get. So you should do a scientific study. This is called vertical electrical sounding.
Okay.
In short, VES. So that will have to be done to find out at what depth you will get good water and quantity also will be good. So that will have to be done. You see, earlier days they used to have this well diviners who use a coconut and so on.
They'll use a string
string.
depending on its oscillation.
Or a kambi.
Right.
They use a kambi or a coconut. The coconut will sit.
Yeah.
So such things, I will say, good or and bad. But the hydrogeologists also use both. They also use the coconut as well as the electrical sounding.
So we've identified the water, we've done rainwater harvesting. One unit which I saw downstairs, which I think needs more explanation, is filtration. So from the rooftop, we first use the first flush filter. It's going to get all the silt out. It's not going to get into the sump or the well. And then you have a small unit which runs filtration. So what layers are there? Is that a pre-built unit? What is that filtration system?
Yeah, filtration is a very complicated subject. To my knowledge, I have not found a good filter. See, earlier they were using gravel or pebbles and sand in between. So that will overflow during heavy rains. Because what they do is they make a tank, 2 by 2 tank, and then do this filtration. But invariably in a heavy rainfall, it will overflow.
Cannot accommodate that.
Yeah, the inflow and outflow doesn't match.
Right.
So it starts overflowing. So then there are other commercial people who have come up, maybe saying, oh, my filter will go up. See, in Amazon, if you go to Amazon, you will get hundreds of filters there.
There's also like what's that, activated charcoal filtration. There's a lot of alum-based. There's so many different.
So many things are there. But till date, you have still not found a good filter. So that is why what has been done in our apartment rain center is that we collect rainwater with minimum filtering. And then when it is pumped into the overhead tank, we put a slow sand filter. You must have seen the 3 cylinders,
Right.
the blue cylinders. They are slow sand filters. So when it goes to the overhead tank, it gets filtered. So that's a better way of doing it. Though it needs some more money. So that's a better way of doing it because there are 2 stages of filtering. Before it goes to sump, you filter. Then from sump to the overhead tank when it goes, then also you do a sand filter. So that is a better way of doing it, is my feel. So otherwise there are no good filters. It will remove leaves and so on.
So basic filtration.
But people are only bothered about bird droppings. I tell you.
Yeah.
Everybody is bothered about the bird drop. But what we tell them is the amount of bird dropping is so small when you compare the amount of rainfall. So you don't bother about it. So but still they are worried about bird dropping.
These days I'm seeing a lot of people actually change their attitude. They are more interested in setting up a terrace garden. They are more interested in doing a weathering course. All of this, people with this mentality, I think, will definitely come towards this approach of rainwater harvesting.
Yeah. Definitely. And I would like to say a small word about the rain center.
Definitely. Sir.
See, this rain center, this is the first rain center in the entire country. I'm proud. See, the rain center should be thought of us as a bridge connecting people with rainwater harvest. See, earlier people they don't know who to contact, who will do it for us, what is rainwater harvesting, will it be useful for me or not, how much, how much it would cost. So such questions were answered by the rain center. And that is why our Honorable Chief Minister decided to inaugurate it. Because she thought it's going to be a very useful thing for people to know more about. So we have small booklets and information which we distribute to everyone. So like that, awareness raising is very, very important. Any topic, tree planting, or even helmets, everything needs awareness. So only then you should get into the real topic.
Yeah, because these days in the CSR circles, in NGO, even normal people living in the news, they're using this word El Nino, which is the weather phenomenon that causes severe drought as well as severe flooding. Chennai has been hit in 2015. Even more recently, there was severe flooding in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Rather than us responding to this problem during the monsoon, I think it's our responsibility to be prepared for it through rainwater harvesting. So, when do you recommend is the best time to do it, right? Like, it should obviously be done before the monsoon. But what are the minimum requirements? So, you said rooftop is collection is the main goal of it. So, what other do I need? Do I need area? Can a well be constructed at any depth or any size? So, a basic idea of what exactly needs to be there so that I can do rainwater harvesting.
Well, the point is that there are two aspects. One is connection, one is recharge. See, connection, where do you do connection? See, there are apartments in OMR which buy water even on a rainy day. So that time thought was foolish. So in such places, what we advise them is, why don't you connect your roof water into a sump so that you can reduce the number of tankers that you buy. So every tanker reduced will save you about 3,000 rupees. So
Some will obviously be there in the house.
some will be there,
Yeah.
but they don't bother to connect the rooftop into the sump. See, some will be there everywhere. Even a small house will have a sump, hoping that one day they will get total water. Right. So the recharge. When do we suggest recharge? If the groundwater is reasonably good and at reasonably good levels, so we tell them to sustain it, you should do recharge.
So recharge might need a four square. Sorry.
No, recharge when?
Yeah, recharge well.
Is 3 feet, 4 feet, or 5 feet.
3 feet.
So there's a calculation for it.
Okay.
Where do you use a 3 feet, where do you use a 4 feet, and so on. So depending on that, we advise them going for 3 feet or 4 feet. And then, see, but you'll be surprised that when I visit 10 complexes, only one or two come back saying I will do it. The rest they still feel this is not necessary. And that I don't know, the educated people, I'm still unhappy that they are not aware with all this, social media coming into the picture and so on. But I don't know. Maybe they are too busy or they feel water can be bought.
Yeah.
But a day will come when you'll have money but no water.
The self-sustainability.
Ah, people,
The aspect of it has been covered.
yeah. You don't feel proud saying I am harvesting my rainwater. See, that pride should come into every human being. See, that's what I said. My slogan will be love water and rain the way you love your children.
Treat them with the due responsibility and respect.
Yeah.
I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
So, I think that will be a great note to end off. Is there any other last points?
No, see, we are now doing harvesting in schools.
Okay.
As part of the Rotary clubs.
Mhm.
So we have done almost 50 schools.
I think with Tokam also you helped us in recharge well.
See, the point is we only choose the corporation school, government school, or the aided school. We don't go to private schools. Because private schools charge a lot. They don't. They don't require any charity.
Yeah.
So we go to these schools and then do it free of cost. And for maintenance, pool and maintenance is free once again. So we go there, study the requirement, how many 4 feet dias required, how many 5 feet dias required, and so on. And then we make a report, give it to the Rotary. They apply for global grant.
Hmm.
And then come back to us with the money. They transfer the funds to us. Then we get it implemented. So I'm so happy. Earlier we were doing for corporates. Now the Rotaries observe. It
It is great to see that still your journey and efforts continuing these days, sir.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to see that so many people either directly or indirectly have been aided by your the perseverance in getting rainwater housing out in the field. So I think as a closing note, it is the need, or I should say, it is the duty of every person to conserve rainwater so that, like you mentioned, treat it like our children, right? We're going to leave rainwater housing to the children, we're going to become self sufficient, and it's going to take care of us for generations to come.
Yeah.
So, I would like to thank you, sir, for
So
giving us.
finally, I would like to say, they say no water, no life.
Right.
You must have heard about that. But now I'm adding one more. I'm saying no harvesting, no water, and no life. Because without harvesting, you are not going to get water. You can be rest assured. It's all going to the sea.
And then unwanted complications will be done to get the water.
Take your water back.
Let's start it at our post.
Yeah. If we start harvesting, flooding will come down. Everything will be taken care of. So harvest rain. But finally, catch rain. It's free.
Sure, sir. I hope that the people listening are motivated to get rainwater housing done at their homes and apartments if it's not yet done. So I thank you once again, sir,
Yeah.
for this time.
Thank you.